Welcome to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. In today's episode, I am going over 12 super fast veggie sides that don't require a recipe. Before we get into the content, I have an email to read from Prep Dish customer Katie. Katie writes, I cannot say enough about Prep Dish. It's been so much more than a service. It's like a family member that helps pick out fun new foods and then plans all of the week's meals together for cost, time, and effort efficiencies. It changed my life 3 years ago and subsequently my family's life by taking off the creative pressure, shopping logistics, and introducing us to so many new foods that we wouldn't have otherwise tried. Happy customers for sure. Katie, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being with Prep Dish for over 3 years. If you're listening to this and you have not tried out our time-saving meal plans, we have a 2-week free trial set up at prepdish.com/MPM, short for Meal Prep Monday. So just head there and you can try us out for 14 days. See what you think of our meal plans, which will help with cost, time, and effort efficiencies, as Katie mentions, and also will hopefully introduce you to some new foods that your family will enjoy. Again, that 2-week free trial is set up at prepdish.com/MPM. Okay, so for today's content, I wanted to go through some really quick and easy veggie ideas. We here at Prep Dish stockpile these because we have our super fast plans, which we promise only require 1 hour of prep to kind of get you ready for your meals for the week. And really any of our recipes, we're always looking for ways that we can save you time. Yes, we want nutritious food. Yes, we want tasty food. But hey, if it can be done really fast, that's the goal too. So I wanted to take you through some of the favorites at my house, the ones that these are a lot of the veggies that I'm buying on a week-to-week basis to have for those kind of throw together meals where I pick a protein, I pick a veggie, I pick a starch and kind of just throw things together. So these are ones that are like, when I say no recipe required, I'll go over how I prep all of these, but really like no recipe required. These are just like the super simple things. But honestly, I think sometimes super simple doesn't mean without flavor. It can be really tasty and, healthy and all of the things. So I have divided these out when I was thinking through like, okay, what are my go-to veggie sides that I don't have to think about? They're super quick. My family loves them. And I realized there's kind of like this method of like, okay, there's some that are longer cooking time and up to like really short to almost like no cooking time. So what I did is I have 4 different categories of cooking times. And so I'll go through and I have my top 3 for each time. It'll make sense once I get into it. So the first one is if you have an hour and a half before dinner. This may sound like a long time, but if you work from home or you get home, from work at least an hour and a half before dinner, this is something I sometimes like this because I can actually start this before my older 2 arrive home from school. So it's kind of nice to get like something out of the way and then when they're home, we can focus on, each other and don't have quite as much on my plate. So the hour and a half out veggies. So the 3 there are sweet potatoes, and whole carrots. And all of those I just bake for basically an hour and a half. Sometimes you have to make sure, depending on the size, it can vary a little bit. Potatoes and sweet potatoes, those I just do plain. And then I'll add, butter or salt or sour cream or whatever, toppings of choice. But really, I just bake those whole and plain. For the carrots, so 2 things here. I do peel them sometimes. I have done them not peeled, especially if it's organic. So that's kind of up to you. I'm trying to do like no prep required. So if you don't want to do any prep, you can put them in whole. If you have a few minutes, you can peel them. Those I drizzle with olive oil and some salt. So super simple. And I do the carrots at a lower temperature, probably like 325 to 340. Sometimes I'll even start them a little higher and then turn them down to that 325. I just want them to get really soft and sweet, almost like caramelized, but not overcook and not, get black or burnt or anything. I also make sure the carrots are not in the top rack of the oven because they can burn because it does take a long time. But once you've done it a few times, the whole carrot method, so delicious, so easy. I find I rarely chop carrots anymore because my family loves like the whole carrots and it's so much easier. So those are the 3 hour and a half out veggies. Okay. And then the 3 that I enjoy that are like kind of 20 minutes out, and all 3 of these are the same method. So it's I prefer like a 375 maybe even 400, depending on how hot your oven cooks. I have a convection heat, so I do 375 and mine cooks a little on the hot side. But the three are green beans, broccoli, and cauliflower. All three of those I get pre-cut. Or I guess the broccoli, cauliflower, you can get pre-cut. The green beans, I just get the ones that are like, already trimmed. So all I have to do is throw them on a sheet pan, olive oil, salt, pepper, and throw them in the oven for, 15 to 20 minutes. So those are my 20-minute out ones. My whole family loves all three of those. Super easy. And like I said, no one complains about any of those vegetables. And then 5 minutes out. So these are really pretty darn quick. You can pull these together right at the last minute. And that is baby spinach, baby kale, and snap peas. So for the baby spinach and baby kale, I just saute in some olive oil. Ideally, maybe I chop a garlic clove or two and add some salt. If you're doing the 100% no prep, you can just do olive oil and salt and saute them for it's really just 3 to 5 minutes. Snap peas, you can saute with some salt as well. I will also either boil or steam the snap peas. And so the thing that takes a little while there is like getting the water up to boil or the steam pot up to, hot enough temperature. But once the snap peas are in there, it's really just like 1 or 2 minutes. And I don't know why I say this, it just flashed in my head, but if it's summertime, fresh corn on the cob is another like 5-minute out one it's the same method as the snap peas. Anyway, that's a little bonus one there. And then the last category is 0 minutes out. So this is like no cooking required, no prep required, anything like that. And that's celery sticks, bell pepper sticks, and sauerkraut. So I forget sometimes that we can just, include raw vegetables. I think I tend to, enjoy cooked vegetables and that sort of thing, but especially in the summer, like it's healthy to eat raw vegetables. They're good. My kids actually, a lot of different vegetables, they prefer the raw version. So bell pepper is a good example of that. They'll eat it cooked, but if I just slice up a bell pepper and serve that raw, the kids love that. So I'll sometimes add those things in as a side, even if, maybe it's not my favorite. It's like, well, it is there. So we kind of, I switch up how I decide to, prepare the vegetables just to kind of play around with what is everyone's preference on preparation. And also, hey, if I have 0 minutes. And so I know I said no prep. So celery sticks, technically you could get pre-chopped. I usually chop them. Same thing with bell pepper. You could actually get those mini bell peppers and you can just eat them whole. So again, no prep required there. And sauerkraut, just read the ingredients label. I like to find the like refrigerated ones and get some healthy ones there. And those are a really nice side that, gosh, the kids just really love the sauerkraut. I think it's like the sour, salty, flavor combination. But that's one that I'll throw on there sometimes as a little veggie side. Okay, there you have it. Those are my 12 super fast veggie ideas. No recipe required and also no prep required. So hopefully that helps. If there's one of these you haven't tried out, I would love to hear from you if you try some of these in the upcoming weeks and how it works. But yeah, that's all I have for today. But I do want to remind you that if you have not tried out our time-saving meal plans, we have them available for 2 weeks free with our trial at prepdish.com/NPM. I wanted to remind you that if you have a goal of fitting in enough protein throughout the day, our super fast meal plans are now designed to where each meal will give you 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So if that's something that's important to you, when you check out the meal plans, make sure you look at the super fast plans because those are designed with that in mind. And then if you are grain-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, any of those things, we have a plan for you as well. So whatever you're needing, I suggest just checking those out at prepdish.com/NPM. Okay, well, that is all I have for this week. I will be back again next Monday with another episode.